All right, let's jump right into this. Today, we're unpacking a massive modern phenomenon that sits smack in the middle of altruism and the algorithm. We are talking about the philanthropy of Jimmy Donaldson, who you probably know better as MrBeast. So the big question is his incredibly public, viral charity driven by a genuine desire to do good, or is it just spectacularly good content engineered for clicks? Let's break down the mechanics of his empire and see what it actually means for the future of giving.
To really wrap our heads around the scale of what we're dealing with here, just think about this number: over 240 million. That is the number of subscribers on just his main YouTube channel alone. It's wild. By his mid-20s, Donaldson built an empire with an estimated net worth of $500 million. And across all his channels, his videos have been viewed over 45 billion times. That's billion with a B. He has immense wealth, immense reach, and a very, very specific and highly visible way of giving back.
And that is exactly why we're taking this so seriously today in this explainer. We aren't just chatting about pop culture here, we're actually grounding our whole discussion in peer-reviewed research. Specifically, an academic paper by Rodri Davies at the University of Kent. It elevates this whole YouTube phenomenon into a rigorous academic investigation. Basically, it asks what happens when a 28-year-old content creator becomes literally one of the most visible philanthropists on the entire planet.
To figure this all out, we're going to look through 6 distinct lenses. First, the Beast Philanthropy phenomenon. Next, the aesthetics of giving. Then, his unprecedented economic model. After that, we'll tackle the ethics of stunt philanthropy, the politics of charity, and finally, the overall influence of MrBeast.
Okay, starting with part 1, the Beast Philanthropy phenomenon.
Let's look at how Jimmy Donaldson went from a standard internet creator to an absolute philanthropic powerhouse. Like any good superhero, or, supervillain, depending on your perspective, there is an origin story here. Back in 2017, MrBeast landed his first major brand deal for $10,000 from a company called Quid. But as condition for taking it, he wanted to give every single penny of it to a homeless man. Now, he realized 2 major things that day. First, giving away money feels really good, and second, it is incredibly lucrative for generating engagement. By 2018, he was doing these massive viral challenges. Think like a multi-million view Facebook video where he literally counted every single grain of rice. And eventually, by 2020, all of this evolved into a dedicated Beast Philanthropy channel linked to a registered 501c3 nonprofit.
Moving right along to part 2, the aesthetics of giving. What's really fascinating about his brand of philanthropy is how it actually looks on a screen. And this brings us to a concept coined by scholar William Davies called the reaction economy. Basically, it's a digital environment where human reactions, things like shock, disbelief, extreme gratitude, they function as the basic tradable commodity. Have you noticed MrBeast's videos always have this gaudy, fast-paced game show kind of styling? Well, there's a reason for that. The recipient's visible shock and overwhelming gratitude are absolute requirements to drive viewer engagement. Without that highly visible emotional payoff, the algorithm just doesn't push the video, and the entire model collapses.
So the crucial point here is this deep tension between visible charity and anonymous virtue. You see, throughout history, circumspection, keeping things quiet when giving, has been seen as virtuous. For example, the medieval scholar Maimonides outlined 8 levels of giving, and the highest, most noble level is one where neither the giver nor the recipient actually knows the other's identity. But for MrBeast, quiet virtue is literally impossible. His entire philanthropic engine absolutely relies on hypervisibility and massive spectacle.
Which brings us to part 3, an unprecedented economic model.
You really have to ask, how exactly can a creator afford to give away millions of dollars for free, over and over again? Well, if we compare traditional philanthropy against Beast Philanthropy, we see a massive paradigm shift. Traditional models, think of like a charity telethon on TV. They use entertainment to eventually ask you, the viewer, to put your hand in your pocket and donate your own money. Beast Philanthropy doesn't want your money. It only asks for your attention.
And here is the sheer genius of this model. It's a tripartite or 3-part relationship. First, the performer, MrBeast, creates a massive spectacle. Next, the viewer, that's us, donates our attention, our clicks, our watch time, our data. And finally, the advertiser swoops in and provides the money to fund both the video and the charity itself. In this model, the charity isn't just a side hustle. The actual act of distributing philanthropic resources is the core entertainment product.
But, this raises a vital question for all of us as consumers. If watching a video funds a charity, does our attention replace our actual generosity? This is the core concern of slacktivism. Basically, if you watch a MrBeast video and mentally check a box saying you've done your bit for charity today, without actually sacrificing any of your own resources, it might ultimately end up suppressing traditional, direct charitable giving.
All right, let's get into part 4, the ethics of stunt philanthropy.
It's time to explore the moral complications of turning human need into a viral game show. The academic paper provides a fantastic philosophical framework for assessing a donor's moral worth. Let's step through it. First, does the giving produce demonstrable good? In MrBeast's case, yes, absolutely. Millions of dollars are reaching people who need it. Second, is the motivation altruism or clicks? That is the friction we keep returning to. Third, is the wealth source ethically tainted? Now, while he isn't an oligarch, he does profit off an attention economy that some argue is damaging to mental health. And finally, the wider context of his life. The research neutrally notes that while his public persona is incredibly affable, there have been allegations of a toxic workplace and past controversies, which definitely complicates the picture of the perfect philanthropist.
One of the heaviest ethical critiques here is the loss of recipient agency. In these videos, recipients are often portrayed as passive actors whose sole job is just to provide emotional reactions for the camera. Also, the videos tend to medicalize incredibly complex issues. Disability scholars point out that distilling massive systemic problems, like a lack of universal healthcare or generational poverty, into a simple problem that a rich guy can just cure in a 10-minute YouTube video, well, it completely ignores the root causes of those problems.
That naturally leads us to part 5. The politics of charity.
The stunt that really broke this debate wide open was when he paid for 1,000 people to have curable blindness surgeries. Political commentator Hassan Piker perfectly captures the sheer frustration it caused for some. He basically argues that philanthropy shouldn't have to replace a competent government. The critique isn't necessarily aimed at MrBeast doing a bad thing, but rather a profound anger at a system where basic human needs are left to the arbitrary, Willy Wonka-style whims of a content creator who showers golden tickets on randomly selected individuals.
But to be entirely fair and objective here, MrBeast himself seems to recognize this exact political tension. Following the backlash from that video, he tweeted this: "I don't understand why curable blindness is a thing. Why don't governments step in and help?" And, this shows that while he might be accused of acting as a white knight, he too is questioning the systemic government inaction that makes his philanthropic interventions necessary in the very first place.
Finally, part 6. The influence of MrBeast.
Let's look outward for a second at how this exact model is actively reshaping the global charity landscape. Whatever your ethical stance is, his ability to mobilize people is just undeniable. Think about his collaborative environmental campaigns. By partnering with other creators, he launched Team Trees, raising over $24 million. And then he followed that up with Team Seas, raising $30 million. He is effectively setting a brand new norm for social media creators, proving that immense capital can be gathered rapidly by activating an audience of millions.
Pulling from the practitioner points of the academic paper, we can see a massive ripple effects happening across the board. Traditional nonprofits are literally being forced to study this attention-driven model, and it's going global. We are seeing international copycats like Harsha Sai, who's widely known as India's MrBeast. He has amassed over 22 million followers by directly lifting this exact stunt philanthropy model. The entire sector is having to adapt to a reality where visibility and viral spectacle are the primary drivers of funding.
Which leaves us with this final thought. Is stunt philanthropy a necessary pragmatic evolution to hack funding in a broken system? Or does it represent the ultimate commodification of human need, where helping a person is only valuable if it generates enough clicks to keep the flywheel turning? It's a deeply complex reality, and the attention economy guarantees we are going to be wrestling with it for a long, long time. Thank you so much for joining me on this explainer, and I highly encourage you to keep questioning what you watch.